This is probably going to be not a very good video, but I think that a lot and say that a lot. I played against an opponent, one pocket on Sunday. Was it Sunday? Yeah, Sunday. Um, and I actually made a recap video. A lot of times I'll make recap when I play someone. Um, but then I lost power in my house before I got it transferred to my computer, and I never bothered to remake it because it just, I don't know, it just didn't seem like it was worth the effort. There was one part of it that was kind of important and would have been worth the effort if I had thought about it. And now, I'm horrible at examples. Horrible. I'm going to try to do some examples here. This is probably not going to work. You just kind of have to pay attention to what I say. So, the guy that I played on Sunday has always been, as long as I've known him, been a better one-pocket player than me. But before the pandemic, I bet I enjoyed a 70-30 win percentage against him. And that's because I've always been a better shooter than him. And a lot of times he would just try to just keep up with my offensive abilities. And it wouldn't work out for him most of the time. And I would win most of the time. But we did have a pandemic. You might have heard something about it. And whereas I spent the past year trying different things, having fun, blah, 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 down here in my basement, this guy spent the past year working on stuff that he considered to be weaknesses of his. He took advantage of that year, whereas I cannot say that I did. I did not. I just continued on as well as I could, had as much fun as I could. So now, I have to admit that I'm the second best one-pocket player in that place. Whereas before I used to be the best, just based on my shooting ability. But what my opponent has worked on, besides just being able to make more shots that he would sometimes have trouble with, was he's become very good at putting the ball next to his hole and leaving me safe. Or leaving it where it's a very difficult decision to do anything except try to take off the ball he just put in front of his hole. Just as an example of that. And again, I'm horrible at examples. But this guy would be very good at banking this two, sending the cue ball 2 rails, and maybe to about right here. Or banging the 2 and leaving the cue ball on the short rail, depending on, and I said 2, I meant 4. That's another thing I do all the damn time, is I talk about some ball that's not even on the table. You get used to it or not, I don't care. But whereas me, I'm likely to just shoot this damn ball, maybe pocket speed in this case. My opponent is very good at putting it right there. If it doesn't go in, it's right there. And then I come along with this pocket. I'm like, okay, I can either see if that 10 fits past the 9, or I can see if I can somehow make the 7 and not scratch, which I don't think. Or I can shoot this 5 into the 4 and hopefully not leave anything. My opponent on Sunday is very good at stuff like that. I'm not very good at stuff like that. I don't see stuff like that a lot. And that is absolutely one of the things I need to work on. Now, I know I get up here all the time and I say, I should work on this, I should work on that. And I hardly ever do it. I think it's not fun for me to work on shit like that. At least it doesn't seem like it would be fun for me to do it. So I don't. But shots like that, not simply executing that shot, but seeing it in the first place. I don't even see shots like that. Well, that one there, clearly I saw, I'm the one that shot it. But we played a lot of games that were maybe not quite up table games, but pretty close. And again, bad examples. But let's say this is my opponent's shot, and again, this is his pocket. He doesn't want to shoot that because it's froze. He would figure out a way to shoot the 5 and double me up on the 7-9. And if it meant sacrificing the 5, not making it, but getting it still close, that's what he would do. Whereas in the past, as I said, he would try to outshoot me a lot. He would just try his damnedest to make the 5 and hope he got me doubled up. During the past year when he was working on stuff, he got to be where he was very good. He became very good at shooting this 5 and putting the cue ball in a certain place, like here or here. Very good at stuff like that, and almost always even the object ball within 6 inches of the pocket. Very good at that. I want to work on that because I want to be the best player I can be. But I need to work on that to be able to compete against this guy, going forward. The other day, I think I probably won a little bit more than half the games. And that was because towards the end of the session, I was concentrating really, really well. But I was shooting. I was just running out whenever I could. I would just run out. It's kind of the way I am in one pocket. I do try to use some strategy, but there's just a lot that I don't know. That's the kind of thing that can really leave me dumbfounded. And I can just say, well, I just don't know what to do right here. And a lot of times in the past, I would end up, well, he's got me screwed, so I've got to try and cut the 10 in or something. Or kick the 5 out and hope I don't scratch off of it. A lot of things like that where I just flat out did not know what to do because he would put me in this kind of situation. A ball really close to his pocket, and I either have no shot or a really tough shot. So, there we go. So I try to concentrate well enough and do something like that. Of course, on that shot, I just fouled. And then my opponent will go, well, hell, he didn't like it up there in that corner, so I'm going to put him up there again. And he would bank the 6. I'm putting a lot of left on this, but I don't need it to make the bang. I need it to try to get the cue ball behind that 4 ball. And he would either make it, or he would put it there. This is pretty unbeatable for me. At my level of one pocket, things like that are pretty unbeatable. And I don't like not being the best player at that pool hall. The best one pocket player. I'm already the best banker, the best bank pool player. 8 ball, 9 ball, I'm so damn streaky that, I can't make that claim anymore. But one pocket, I kind of have been if you go by winning percentage. But I can't say that anymore. Not since the restrictions of the pandemic started to lift and I was able to start going back in there again. I'm now second best. Don't let that. I have an ego. I'm a human being. And that's the kind of thing that I need to work on. Is not, I have to work on how do I get out of this mess that I'm in right now, but how to see how to put my opponent in the same kind of mess, see that kind of shot. Helps me if I have the opportunity to do that, or it also helps me to kind of recognize what not to leave my opponent. If I had known my opponent was going to do this bullshit to me, maybe I would have tried harder to leave the cue ball someplace else, instead of leaving them basically a free bank at that 6-ball. That kind of thing. Now, I'm not completely helpless, and I do recognize situations, I don't know, part of the time. I wouldn't even say most of the time, though. There are a lot of times where I watch this particular opponent shoot. Man, I wish I knew about that, or I know it now at least, until I forget it again. At least I know it now. And very educational for me to play a better player than me. I do believe I'm still a better shooter. I mean, I'm using the word player to encompass everything, shooting and strategy and all that. This guy's a better player than me, and I really haven't had that opportunity to play against somebody that's a better player than me at one pocket in that pool hall. And it's not like I'm a world beater or whatever. I just have a very small circle of people I play with. And it's kind of neat. I mean, it's neat that now I have the opportunity to learn stuff. And I'm trying my damnedest to take advantage of that opportunity. Before, I guess I wouldn't. I would just try to shoot. Because I knew I could outshoot the guy. So I was going to win my share of the games just by just doing that strategy. Especially when he was trying to mimic that strategy. He would just try to outshoot me. Then I'm going to win 70% of the games. If he tries to outplay me, he can beat me. And eventually I want that to not be the case anymore. Eventually I want us to be even again, or I want to be better again. Because I will still have a shooting edge. If I can get some knowledge on the strategies and all that of one pocket, it'll make me better, right? That's it. That's all I really had said on my recap the other day that was important. I cannot think of anything at all else that I said that I wasn't distracted or anything like that. Sometimes I'll say, oh, I was distracted because there was a hot girl. I'll say stuff like that. Or the music was too loud. That happens in this place a lot. But in this case, it was that. It was watching him do things that I didn't even see, always controlling that cue ball. And I almost always put it in the object ball really close to his pocket. And then I guess the other thing was I turned it around by concentrating really, really well and flat out shooting it. Instead of trying to think about the strategy and stuff, just put all balls in the hole and then you win, and that's it. So that's it. That was, that's not a recap. This is a regular video, but it's going to have to substitute for a recap and do that as well. So, later.